Well, welcome everybody. Today is Monday, May 4th. I hope you all had a good weekend. And we're going to continue with our class and with a new section actually, in which we are going to be learning how to teach vocabulary, the actual teaching process. And we're going to start by learning and discussing how to present vocabulary. This part is going to be divided into, well, this section is going to be divided in two parts. And what first we're going to tackle the meaning side of it, and in the next part we're going to tackle the form. Now this will be meaningless to you right now, but as we progress you will see how it relates to our topics. So one thing that I would like to point out first, when you access the platform from now on, this class, you will see that it is in a different format. Now you will when you access the class, you will be presented with a kind of like a general overview of all the sections that we have. And when you, maybe if you go to the first one, you will have to move like this in a linear way, or you can use here the table of contents and go directly to the section that we are in right now. Is this here, and that's the reason I did this is because it was starting to look very crowded, like with too many things in one page, one long page. So when one thing that I want to point out also is that this week we not only we're starting a new chapter or section on our course, but we are also beginning to work. We're going to start working in a different dynamic. Uh, so previously we were transitioning, and I was trying to see how to move from being in the classroom, actually going to school, to teaching from a distance. And I have decided to start to use some strategies. And the first strategy that I'm using is that we're gonna be learning through e-learning modules that I am creating for each of my classes. Well, most of my classes, not each of one, but most of them. An e-learning module basically is it contains a whole class in a package. That's why the icon looks like a package. And when you access the module, um, where is, for example, I'm gonna go to a test course here that I have. Uh, so I'm gonna go here, and you're gonna see the icon like this. You're gonna access the model, and in your case, it's gonna be this one, and you're gonna see something like this. And that module, when you enter in normal, right, normal, you're going to see something like this. And this is basically the whole class. Now, I want to repeat that. An e-learning module in our classes, when you see this package, that's an e-learning module. Most of the time, that's going to be a complete class for 1 week, okay? But sometimes it may be a quiz, okay? So sometimes you will do the quiz in a module like this. Sometimes you're not, but most of the time it's going to be a class. That's why it's going to say here e-learning module complete lesson. Okay, so you're going to and everything you need for this week is here. I may add some extra stuff if as we advance, but right now this is the main part, the lesson. This is what you have to access and do, and this is some just actually a resource we used last semester, and we're going to use it again, not just as a reference. Okay, so when you access the module, you're gonna see something like this. I want you to first off, I'm going to, well, actually I'm gonna go here. It's ready here. I want you to get rid of the table of contents by pressing this button here, and I want you to make it full screen so that you have the complete thing. Now, I decided to do the video as a walkthrough instead of having the audio on the slides, embedded on the slides, because it makes the package, the e-learning package, too heavy. So if I record the audio in the slides, it makes the package too heavy. And I think it was better if I just did the video and guide you through the lesson uh, as you progress. Okay, so when you access the class, you're gonna go here. You're gonna see the information. This is of course everything, the reference. I am basing this module on this chapter here on the book we have been following, and that before we continue, I do want to mention that one of the reasons that I had you work on slides on presentations in the last section is because I want you to practice some. I want some of my classes at least to practice the dynamic of taking a reference, dissecting it, simplifying its contents for our students or for our audience, and putting it into slides because that's the foundation for creating later you may need to create this type of e-learning. And creating slides, as you do in PowerPoint, for example, or Google Slides, is the foundation for creating e-learning. It's the first part of it. So e-learning is more complex. More complex. It has a little bit more to it, but the foundation is that. So I wanted you to practice that in the last section, that skill of going through text that it may have a lot of stuff and just taking the most important parts and putting it in a simplified way so that your students can have access to it um, more in a more friendly manner. Okay, so I am reviewing those slides that you made, those presentations. I am taking the best parts of them, and we're going to incorporate them in a resource and in a video actually, which I will make as a feedback video for those presentations, so that we have access to that information because it is very important. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need to have all the all that understanding of the sources of vocabulary as we progress to teaching vocabulary. Okay, so when you're here in the lesson, uh, part one meaning, you're gonna click next. And before we continue, I want you to know to see that there is a timeline here, but it does not advance automatically. As you click next, it goes to the next part. It is extremely important, guys. Well, not extremely. I mean, it's gonna be not gonna be the end of the world if you don't do it, but it is important that get you advance through the whole lesson up to the end, because that's how the platform will tell me if you don't advance through the end, the platform will not um, let me know if you have finished. For example, when I go here and I see reportes, if you don't complete the lesson, uh, when I see your attempts, intentos, it it's gonna show like incomplete. Okay, if you don't complete it, so it is important that you move through the whole lesson. Okay, so again, we're gonna go full screen. First, in the lesson, you will see some key concepts and ideas for the whole um, how to present vocabulary section, some key concepts and ideas. Okay, and then next you're gonna see some key concepts and ideas related to the meaning part of it. So one of the things that we are going to talk about is that. Okay, teaching vocabulary means teaching the meaning and the form of a word. So first we will tackle meaning, how to present, clarify meaning. Okay, so we're going to talk about many things, but some of the topics you will find here. Okay, and the way that I this here, it means that this is a topic, a subtopic, a methodology or approach, and a side topic, which it's just a way for you to know, like, okay, this is like the index in a way, okay, of the lesson. So you're going to start here. We're going to start with this question. You are going to answer it. I am not going to answer it. Okay, So the first question, the class begins with this question. According to what we studied in the second chapter, how words are learned, learners need to know to learn both the meaning and the form of a new word. So what do you think? So you're going to answer and then you're going to click submit. All right? So you're going to answer and click submit. I am going to go to now to do that, you have to answer and click submit, and then you will be taken to the next slide. Okay? Well, yeah, I'm actually kind of like spoiling it there, but well, sorry. Uh, you will do it on your own. Now, well, in this case, actually, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna. Let's remember about it. Of course, it's true. Okay? Yeah, it's true. Uh, and it's good because you can see what happens when you click a correct option. You're gonna see this, and this is fine. This is not a difficult one. All of you will remember that we studied. Yes, of course, it's true. We studied that when we learn vocabulary, both meaning and form are essential. Okay, yeah, that's not up for discussion. That's essential. All right. So uh, now there is a discussion among teachers and other language theorists. Should we teach meaning first and then form, or should we teach form and then meaning? So next, how this is just how far I'm gonna go in this lesson. I don't want to go through the whole lesson because I'm going to spoil it for you. Okay, but I do want you to understand how to answer these questions in the module. So this is an open question, and in open questions you will see this rectangle, which you can see a cursor here, and you can type in it. So what you're gonna do is that I am asking you, should we teach meaning first and then form, or should we teach form and then meaning? Okay, so what do you think? So if you think that we should teach meaning then form, you type it here, right? Like we should, or I think we should. Or if you want, you can research an author according to whatever, however, this is an open question. You're going to type it, okay? You're going to type whatever you think, right? Whatever you think, and then you're going to click submit. And you're going to be thanked for your answer, and then you're gonna continue, okay? And that's how you're going to progress to these e-learning modules. Now, the e-learning module contains a lot. It's a whole lesson. There are a good number of questions and assignments here. Um, so there's one more question here. There's next question. Then we have you're gonna in this type of activity you're gonna check two options. Here the question is, what is a good number of words to teach in one lesson? If you get this wrong, it doesn't matter. And one thing that you have to know about this e-learning modules, guys, when they are lessons, this is like if we were in the classroom. If you answer something incorrectly, you don't get a lesser grade. I'm going to repeat that. This is not an exam. This is like if we were in the classroom. Okay? The difference is that instead of listening to me speak, you are reading and being prompted to participate. So this is like, imagine that this is the whiteboard and with the projector maybe, and this is your notebook, and I'm asking you to write. This is like a lesson, okay? This is a complete lesson as if we were in the classroom. That's the idea, at least, okay? So I just want to guide you through the different types of questions. So these are open questions. These are multiple check. Here you're going to check two options. Then, okay, there's gonna be a part when we're gonna review teaching methodologies, there's going to be questions where I will ask you which of the following are teaching methodologies to see if you actually remember about teaching methodologies. Remember about TPR, remember about communicative learning. Those are the teaching methodologies we studied last semester that you made presentations about. Well, let's see which ones you remember, and you're gonna check all of the ones that apply. And then in the next slide, you're gonna see if you had them correct. If you made mistakes, don't worry. As I said, this is like a class, and we're gonna talk about how to use translation in the classroom. In this type of activity, this is a drag and drop activity. We are discussing. I am asking you which ones do you think before I tell you. I'm asking you which ones do you think of these ones, which ones do you think are advantages and which ones do you think are disadvantages. So if you think that these two are advantages, for example, you're going to put them here. If you think these two are disadvantages, you're going to put them here. There are two and two. I can tell you that. Okay, two are advantages, two are disadvantages. When you finish, you click submit, and that's it. And then you're gonna be given the answer here, and then you're gonna be given a couple more advantages and disadvantages of using translation. Then we're gonna talk about incidental vocabulary because it is mentioned here, but we have not talked about it, so we're gonna just briefly discuss it. Then we're gonna talk about the thing is translation, using translation has a bad reputation. Why would I want to use it? Well, actually, it has some advantages. Sometimes it is appropriate and effective, and we're gonna see why. And then you're gonna be presented with three examples, three excerpts from the book of that we're studying from Tarnberg's book, and these are three cases in which the teacher uses translation, the L1 to teach the L2, but they are different. And in the next slide, I want you to tell me how they are different. Okay? So this is again open question. You'd write your opinion as if you were writing in your notebook, then you click submit. It is important, very important, that you click submit. If you don't click submit, your answer does not get submitted. Okay, for redundancy's sake, and I cannot give you credit for that answer for this question. Okay, so it doesn't matter wherever you answer, it's fine. The only thing that I want you to, in this, I make this point here. Wrong answers do not negatively affect your grade. The only way your grade gets lowered with these lessons is if you leave an unanswered question, or in the case of an open or text question or assignment, you provide a sloppy answer to which you evidently did not give enough thought. That's the only case where I would say, okay, yeah, it's not an A plus, it's maybe an A, or it's maybe a B, like an 85, because this person didn't do like 5 questions and the answers are very sloppy. And yeah, so that's how it goes. Okay, so let's go back to so we were here. You're going to give your opinion which one is better and how. Why is one of these better? These uses of translation, which one is better and why? How are they different and why one's better than the other? Then we're gonna go to the topic of illustrating meaning. So this is an alternative to translation, and here we're gonna go back to a couple more methods that we studied, especially TPR, and we're gonna introduce the term realia, and we're gonna start using how we use realia in the classroom, and then in this assignment, I want you to do a quick, and I'm actually writing assignment here because it involves a little bit more work than the usual open answer opinion question. In this assignment, you have to do a quick review of the TPR methodology. So how do you do that? How do you go about that? So you actually go to the class, and you will see this here. And this is the text that we um, basically we used last semester. Let me open it. Remember? So here, you have all the methodologies that we studied. So in case you were wondering which one we studied, and here you have TPR. Mm, where is it? Approach ways, just Wikipedia. Here, comprehension approach TPR. So it's page 18. Okay, so you're gonna go there. You're gonna just review a little bit, review it a little bit, and then, and it will be very important that you do review, because I am what I'm asking you to do in the assignment here is write, based on what you review of the TPR methodology, write a sequence of classroom commands that you would use in conjunction with Realia to teach about fruits and vegetables. Now, if you go to, let's go to that page 18, actually. So, seems that it's off a little bit here. So TPR, you will remember that when we studied TPR, well, this text is kind of like a video commentary, but what they do in TPR is that they use commands, right? Imperatives like do this, do that. Like, for example, if we're teaching something about musical instruments, no? Take the guitar. That's a command, right? So you instruct the student to do something physically, and that helps a lot, okay? Take the guitar. So that means that the student has to know which one is the guitar, because maybe you have a lot of instruments there. So vocabulary wise, he has to know which one is the guitar. So take the guitar. And he also has to know the meaning of the verb take, right? So take the guitar. Put it in your lap. So lap, right? So that's another word. That's not, it's not a musical instrument. It's a part of the body, but it's part of the vocabulary, right? Of the semantic field of playing musical instruments. So if the topic is playing musical instruments and we are using TPR, part of the semantic field is lap, regazo, ¿verdad? Lap, even though it is not a musical instrument. So your student has to know. So in TPR, if we were teaching under TPR approach, you would say, take the guitar, put it in your lap, strum the guitar. Now, strum, the verb strum is not common. It's not common in, I don't think, any other semantic field other than music, right? Strum is rasgar. Rasgar un instrumento de cuerdas. So, strum, the verb strum will be part of the semantic field of playing musical instruments, and in a TPR approach, you would use the verb to command the student to do something. So if that's how TPR works. Now, this is, you're not limited to reviewing TPR with this text. Of course, I would actually advise you to go Google it and check for TPR commands, for example, and you will see. What I want you to do here is just write. It's not an essay. It's just a simple example of some commands you could use in conjunction, and this is the important part here, because we're studying the use of realia to illustrate meaning. So it's not only the TPR approach we're studying. We already saw that last semester. We already saw the TPR approach. We are incorporating how to illustrate meaning of words using realia. And you will read, when do we use realia? When is it? When do we illustrate meaning? Why? In which cases? And why realia might be a good resource? Okay. So you will propose. Okay. So for example, with the topic of fruits and vegetables. So if you had to teach fruits and vegetables, what would you do? Well, first, of course, if you're going to use realia, I'm going to tell you the first part. You're going to have to bring to class some fruits and vegetables, preferably plastic ones because I wouldn't. Well, I don't know. Depending on the age of my students and the context, I would not take real food. I would probably take some uh, just uh, like toys or something that looks like fruit, but maybe you want to take fruit. It's fine. And you would take some fruit maybe to your class and vegetables, and then you would ask them, okay, do this, do that. So which commands would you give? Now, there, I'm gonna give you a hint. There's a lot more to the context of fruits and vegetables, right? Than just the fruits and vegetables. So it's not only what I want you to get from this part of the lesson is it's not only I'm gonna teach fruits and vegetables. I'm gonna teach banana. I'm gonna teach broccoli. No, like in the example of the musical playing musical instruments, and that's what I like to contextualize with verbs in gerund form. Playing musical instruments. When you teach vocabulary, my advice is to think about not fruits and vegetables. No, I mean I would probably say managing and eating fruits. I mean because when you eat, you have to think about okay when I eat, what things do I do with fruits and vegetables? Okay, I can cook fruits and vegetables. I can manage them, and by manage I mean that I have to wash them, maybe disinfect them, maybe peel some of them, right? Maybe slice some others to eat them. So there is more than just the nouns banana, carrot, broccoli. There is more. So you have to think about the whole situation, the whole context. Okay, what do I do with fruits and vegetables? What do I want my students? What vocabulary do I need my students to know? It's not only the fruits and vegetables, it's also the actions that we do, right? And you could actually include more vocabulary items in that context because you could include adjectives like healthy, right? You could include many other things. But for now, in this assignment, I want you to think about the TPR approach and in conjunction with Realia, how you would, some commands that you would use with your students to learn about, for your students to learn about fruits and vegetables. Okay, so you're gonna submit your answer and move forward. And we're gonna go to the topic of using verbal means. Okay, so verbal means non-visual verbal means, and I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna prompt you to check which of these are verbal means in your opinion. Okay, and then you're going to check your answers. Then we're gonna learn about the situational approach. What's that about? You're gonna be given an example of a situational approach, some details. I have kept it as simplified as I could, and I have condensed the reference as much as I could and used my own words in the best of my ability to make it simple. I am, however, giving you references as it should be done. And yes, sometimes I am taking screenshots of the text and using them here, but I want you to see that it is not what the author says, it's just the examples. In your slides, I ask you to put it in your own words, and that's important. I'm doing the same, I'm simplifying as much as I can, knowing my audience, you, and when I'm taking from the reference, I'm just taking examples which would be pointless to to just it's better if I think it's faster if I do it this way, and in this case I don't think I have to. Okay, and in any way I'm giving you reference here. So you're gonna check that example of a situational approach, and then you're gonna be asked assignment, and you're gonna choose 1, 2, 3 vocabulary items, and after you have read about the situational approach, you're gonna think of a situation that would help you convey. Convey means como transmitir, parecido, ¿no? Mostrar o transmitir the meaning one or three words. I would probably choose two at most, but I wanted to give you options. But in this case, they are teaching. In this case, the teacher is using a situation to convey the meaning of embarrassed and embarrassing through a situation. I'm gonna ask you to choose one to three words, preferably related, and give a situation like this one, similar, to teach about that. Um, then you're gonna go to using example sentences. This is another approach to convey meaning. And this is a little different because in this one, as you're gonna see, instead of a situation, what you use is a series of sentences in which the word is used, the target word is used in a strategic way, so that the student gradually understands the meaning, works the meaning out through the process of induction. I'm sorry. Okay, so you're gonna see about that. You're gonna see an example of using example sentences, and then you're gonna be asked to analyze. Where was I? Yeah, here. Then you're gonna be asked to analyze the previous example here, and then you're gonna do the same. You're gonna choose one vocabulary. In this case, only one vocabulary item, and you're going to provide your own 5 to 7 sentences through which your students could progressively work the meaning of the target word. So I'm giving you very little here, just the nuts and bolts, but you can, of course, study more. And if you want the reference text, you can have it, just ask for it. I'm not including it because I don't want to I want you to be focused. Those of you who feel that the reference text would be useful or that you need it, you can ask me for it. But I would probably just follow the lesson, see the example, come up with my own. Okay? So 5 to 7 sentences to which your students could progressively work the meaning of the target word. See how the teacher does it here. Okay? In this case, the teacher uses that approach to convey the meaning of fancy. Okay? So you could do that, and then you're going to finish the lesson, the e-learning lesson of how to present vocabulary part 1, meaning. And you're gonna see this, you're gonna see what I already told you about answering, and that if you complete it, no problem. If you do all the assignments and answer the questions, you're gonna have a perfect grade, unless you do a sloppy work in the, if you just, if you're here and just like, for example, let's go back to an opinion, to one question like this one, no? Like let's say that you hear, how are they different, which one's better than the other in this case? Like if you say, I don't know, or the first one is better, right? uh, uh, it's more simple, no? Now that's a sloppy answer, honestly. Come on, use your common sense, right? I'm not asking you for an essay, but I do want you to take a look at, when I ask you for a question, for an answer, I do want you to make an effort and try to give a. It doesn't have to be an essay. You don't have to fill this box with text. It's not necessary that you fill it all. You just have to give me an answer that is, deserving of a grade. That's it. I'm not going to be giving 9 or 10 or no. I'm just gonna say, okay, this answer is just completely, like I said, if the answer shows that you did not give thought to the question and that you're not taking the assignment seriously, then I'm not gonna take it. But if I just see that you're trying and that you're giving an honest and thoughtful answer, yeah, you're gonna give credit, of course. So when you finish, you're going to be shown here. This is like the report. Don't worry, there's no grades here. It's just passed or not passed, basically. If you complete your assignments, you're fine. Then you're gonna go to the next one, and this is the end. And when that happens, when you get here, the little ball here is going to advance to the end. You have to wait for it to get to the end and get here, because once it gets here, then the lesson is completed. You can exit using that check mark, that cross, and then you will I will be able to see that you completed the assignment here. Okay, it will show up as finalizado, and then I will be able to go and I will be able to see your answers. Okay, see, this is my gibberish answer, and this is, and I am not, like I said, I just want to see that you, I'm just keeping a record that you followed the lesson. So this is the way, this is, I think, I hope, guys, I honestly hope. And right now what I'm gonna do is, right now, if you get here, you're gonna see that the lesson is going to be open today at 4. As soon as I finish this video, I will enable it so that you can get started. I just have to first upload this video to YouTube, put it here, and when I have everything ready, I will enable it for you. It may be at 4, it may be a little earlier. Uh, and that's it. If you have any questions, you should be able to work with these models perfectly. They should work perfectly fine within the platform. Um, and that's it for now. We are going to later in the week, once I see your how you progress with the e-learning module dynamic, and I really hope it works, and it is of your liking, and it, you can we can take advantage of that format. And during the week, I'll be asking you, and if you have any questions, you can let me know on Telegram. But this is one way we can work at a distance. So yeah, hope it works. Regarding the forum, I have not finished fee- um, um, reading all your proposals. I want to let you know that I am including most of your proposals, the ones that I can, the ones that are suitable, to a database. So if you go to the class, you can see a database, and in this database you can see that I am adding the what each person proposed, and there are some really good proposals, and I am actually providing feedback in the forum. You, and I thank those of you who have actually provided feedback to others. That's what a forum is supposed to be. Uh, so so that's it, guys. I hope that everything works fine, and I will be in touch. Thank you.